To shut the recording off, I meant to bring up my PowerPoint. Okay, share screen. Going here to bring up this screen, play from the start. Here we are. So for these times, a wisdom/collective plus personal reading. And the idea of a wisdom reading comes from Rachel Pollack. It's where you ask the tarot about kind of philosophical questions, big picture questions. She would ask, what is the soul? What is the tarot? And there's also the idea of like, we don't have to read only for ourselves. We can be reading for the collective. Kind of the tarot helps us tap into the patterns that are not just individual, but are collective. So this is the inspiration for it. And here it is, the questions. Here we have on this side, the wisdom or collective reading, which I have done. I have done using the Next World Tarot. I'm going to share that with you. And those questions were, what is the essential energy of this time? And to me, that seems important. Like, what is the essential energy to work with? Okay. And then these next two questions, what is breaking down for composting, passing away? It is the end of. But then what is breaking through for liberation? I've added that qualifier. I want the breakthrough for liberation. I think we can move in that direction. I will hold that vision. So I have done this reading with the Next World Tarot by Christy C. Rode. It is a tarot of, the breakdown has happened and we are living into this a vision of liberation and connection to each other. I'm going to show you those images in a minute. But there's also, so you can kind of connect, look for what you can be doing connected to this wisdom collective energy, a personal reading, how to contribute to shaping, encouraging this liberation is the one question. Right now, don't do, but a next step do. And this is the how-to question is maybe kind of the bigger picture, what's your strategy, what's your contribution? And then the two questions, it's inspired by this, actually Zoe Matoff, Rachel Pollack's wife, who I know that the reading comes from her, this, what's kind of the essence, what's the center, what's the situation, and then what do you not do about it, and then what do you do about it? So this is a personal reading. Feel free to pause the video and write down the personal reading. You could write down the wisdom reading, but I'm going to walk you through the wisdom reading right now. But if you want to grab that personal reading and do it on your own, you can. There'll be a couple points where I invite you to kind of pause and to do your own reflection. But I'm going to keep moving so that you can do what you need to do. And I'm moving on to the wisdom, the collective reading that I've done with the Next World Tarot. And it surprised me. Here in the center, this is the central card. This is the essential energy. This is the essence of this, what we are going through in these times. And it's the Knight of Cups, named as the love song. And I guess this is somewhat, I'm just going to name the cards. And as I'm doing that, be looking at them, having your own kind of reaction to them. I'm going to walk you through this overview, and then we're going to spend time with each card. This breakdown card, this is the breakdown for composting. This is what we're rising up out of, but that's passing away. We have here suspension, which we know as more commonly the hanged man, sometimes the hanged woman, named here suspension. And then the breakthrough that will move, that is what is moving us towards liberation, is the Six of Swords, which is in this deck. They make, Christy Rhodes makes correspondences to astrology, which I always translate astrology into tarot. So what we have here is Mercury and Aquarius. So I translate that to the magician in the star, magic in a time to cultivate hope. So, and I'm going to say, actually, just if you're watching, take a pause and look at these cards for yourself. and have a reaction to them as a pattern. Take that pause, do your own thinking, and then I'm going to be talking. If you have your thoughts, you've journaled about them or have them in your mind, you combine them with mine, and that's really the wisdom to emerge for you, right? The idea with a wisdom collective reading is that not everyone does it with their own cards. Like, these are the cards that were pulled for the collective, so you hang. But we collaborate in this by, you have your thoughts, I have my thoughts, and then you mix them together. So pause if you need to do that, but I'm going to keep going with just a little touch of the overview here. And then we're going to look at each of these cards a little more in depth. So the essential energy of this time is the love song. And love always surprises me. This is my personal piece of like, I'm looking for something more intense. I'm looking for something not as holding of us. This is just like a weakness I have around this idea of love, because it really here, the love song in the next World Tarot is, going deeper, deeper into the depths of emotion and finding there that mystery, that depth, and that serves us in creating a new love song. We're in a time of a new love song. All right, I'm going to talk about each of these pictures. Suspension is the breakdown. And when I see this idea of we've been suspended, we've been in a holding pattern, we've had a certain way of living, and or we have been a little shocked to our system since Trump won the election, came into office, is doing all these chaotic actions that are affecting us in the United States, but also around the whole world, the whole world. So we've been a little in suspension, but this is the breakdown. The suspension is breaking down. It's the compost and is passing away. And nights are very active. We're going to talk more about that. So from the suspension, the breakdown, we move into the action. And the breakthrough is the Six of Swords. Card of Passage is the title here. I love that title. And this is a person, a femme person on the move, being the magician in the time of hope. Okay, now we're going to look at each of these cards individually. The breakdown card. Oh, let me move my whole picture. So I'm going to talk about it, but you're doing your work. This might be a good time to pause and just look at this image. Forget the hangman or suspension or anything. Look at this image and what grabs your attention. Feel free to pause and do that. But I'm going to keep going, because when I look, what most grabbed my attention with this is the hands. Because usually the hangman, the hands are behind the back, you can't see them. But so here, the hands in the front, and they're kind of in the front of the heart. So this breakdown is the barriers we've had in front of our hearts for others, right? We have felt like, and this may be something that's United States specific, things are happening to other people. It's too overwhelming to be connected to so many people. But in this time of action after action that is coming out of the Trump administration, we are understanding we are all connected. What's happening isn't happening to other people, whether we think of other people as immigrants or trans people or federal workers. We are immediately coming into awareness of how we are connected. I mean, I'm at work, I'm talking to people, I'm talking to friends, I'm learning about people losing their jobs. We are uncertain what's happening in the workplace. The terrible attacks that are coming against immigrants and trans people, and the federal workers are there. and we are understanding how we are connected to them. So this like hands over the heart, this is breakdown. I mean, and what happens next, like at the fall, this is a little bit a connection of tower when the tower times. You let go of being suspended and you fall, you fly, and this is some of the breakdown that's happening. Where I'm going with that. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about breakthrough and what I saw on this card. And of course, you know what's coming next. I'm encouraging you to pause the video and look at this image on your own and see what you see first. Because working with the tarots, different tarots, they're coming out of a common pool of wisdom, but each artist, creator brings their own way into it. We're each oracles, but we speak through what our experience is, and the Next World Tarot has a particular way of speaking. So let's speak to that image. But I'm going to keep going, so I hope you've paused. So breakthrough, the Six of Swords. And this is a card of passage. In the Rider-Waite-Smith, we know it as the boat moving through. The idea is more that it's moving from difficulty towards something new. And so this is the passage we're going through. This one, as you may remember, it was Mercury in Aquarius. So the magician in the star. And this image kind of had a lot of elements, little clues to the magician with me, because, the magician is always there with the four elements there. And I'm seeing here in the suitcase is red, fire, wands. This lunchbox, your food, it's green, it's the earth. You have in this element something that's going to nurture you and nourish you. This is the thermos, the cup, the waters, the emotions you're taking with you, being fed. And then I was looking for yellow, right? We're doing color correspondences. Yellow can often be connected to air. And here it is around the throat. It's kind of consciousness. I see it both kind of protecting the throat, protecting the place from which you speak, and also, motivating the speak, the action, the moving forward. So this is kind of, the idea of the majors are the archetypes that are beyond just one person, but in the minors, we see us acting them out. I'm like, the magician in the star takes the tools that have been developed, takes the essentials that are needed to move to a new place. And that movement is the breakthrough that we have. We recognize we have tools, we've been developing them, we have things that we need, and we're breaking through and we're moving forward. Okay, now I'm going on to the Knight of Cups, which is the essential energy. And this is an interesting Knight of Cups. It's lots of elements that I think are interesting. So pause and look, like in this image, what's interesting, unique about this Knight of Cups? What is its essential energy, this Knight of Cups? So you can pause, and I am going to keep talking. So something we have here, we have the 6 flowers, 6 roses, which connects to 6, to the lovers. Rose is the symbol of love. So this is that connection to the lovers, to love, just laid out in a visual. The name of this card, you may remember, is the Love Song. And all the knights, I believe, are in service. Knights are in service to something greater than themselves. And I have a piece in Tarot for Troubled Times, Justice at the Heart of the Tarot, about all the knights serving justice. This 6 of roses here makes me think about, so the Knights of Cups, this essential energy that we may want to be aligning with to help move to the breakthrough, is the service. The love is how these knights serve justice. What another interesting element about this image is that, and oh, sorry, I want to say, I want to say something about love. Love, I'm looking now, Christopher Marmolejo's Red Tarot, the Decolonial Guide to Divinatory Literacy. And love is not an emotion. I think really we owe this insight to bell hooks. Love is not an emotion. Love is, and it's a numerous things, but I'm going now to Christopher Marmolejo. I like this. Love is a practice. The Knight of Cups is the practitioner who looks for new ways to love because they want to prepare themselves for the possible. Will themselves to love daily through choices informed by a pedagogy of the heart. They consider, how do I love? In these times, how do I love? And you make your choices to advance the practice of love and to make this your service in the world. This idea of choices then, of course, connects to the lovers as well, because that's one of the meanings of the lovers, is making choices. So those are my thoughts about the rose. Okay, the environment that this night is in reminds me of the Hermit. We're about to enter the Hermit full moon as I record this. And, it's kind of on the mountaintop. And the Hermit, yes, is about taking time to be alone in solitude and find your inner wisdom. That, to me, I understand that as one element of the Hermit, but equal and to be combined is having done this work, connected to your inner teacher, you have to return and share your light, right? It's usually the light, the lantern light. And this Knight of Cups, kind of connected to in this Hermit environment, having been a practitioner of love, having, experimented and tried and done things imperfectly, as well as having some achievements, wants to share that love. So the essential energy of this time is like, what have we learned about love? And particularly if we're like being the breakdown of suspension, we let our hands go, we open up our heart to very wide world. What have we learned about love? And this Knight of Cups does not have a lantern light. The Knight of Cups is offering the cup, like the Hermit offers the lantern, and different from like the Rider-Waite-Smith, where the Knight is looking into the cup. This Knight, this essential energy of this time, is looking at us and inviting us to drink from this cup. And in the cup is the crab. And the crab is one of the kind of most ancient creatures. It's on some moon cards. More often the lobster, but sometimes the crab. And they are creatures, they kind of regenerate their shell, but they're not like turtles. It's kind of a softer shell, and they move more quickly. They move sideways, they move in different ways, they move in surprising ways. And in this time we're in, we may need to move in surprising ways. And they move between the water, that deep emotion and intuition of everything water as a symbol, onto land, into making things practical, bringing the experiences of the depths to being in the world and being attractive and moving in different ways, maybe than we've known before. Knights are, said, at the heart of the tarot, the knights are the ones who are in service. They are activists. They are activists in all different ways. The knights, all of the knights, they have their different way of working with. They're working with fire or water or air. And in Tarot for Troubled Times, I give little profiles of the various knights and what they might be doing. Water knights nurture and show compassion, including by ensuring good meetings and good group process through facilitation, offering hospitality, food, child's care, setup for events, actions, meetings. They help justice seekers work through feelings related to their work. This is a time of working through the feelings, going into them, like the crab goes into the water, but not being drowned by them, and accepting them, and then moving out onto the land to take action. The knights, a final thought on the knights in this overview. The knights are collective. Knights travel in groups. So, I mean, sometimes they're singular knights, but it's the Knights of the Round Table. It is, we need these groups the essential energy of this time is collecting together people who have some common cause or different passion, or you're going to just work together. And then there are different kinds of knights. There are the water knights, the fire knights, the earth knights. So the knights then connect with other knights working on other issues, working on in different ways. So knights work collaboratively. Like the big advice over and over again is connect with a small group where you live, and or be connected to the larger groups, some of the organizing groups that are doing work in these times. So the essential energy of this time is collective. Okay, I think that is what I am going to say about these nights. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on what you think and add to this discussion. I have one more thing to add. I thought this was just kind of personal because I have a personal connection to this card, but I think there is a collective message as well. Like this message is coming through me, it comes through what I know, and this has come up for a reason. So, as many people know, people who watch me know, my late partner, John, he died in 2012. He is the Knight of Cups in the Mass Tarot deck that we created. So whenever the Knight of Cups comes up, for me, I'm like, oh, okay, there's something of John here. This reading is for the collective. I don't think necessarily John Locke is speaking to the whole collective, but the idea of our beloved dead and our ancestors wanting to support us in these times, I think that is a message. I offer it to you as a possible message. Our ancestors are speaking to us, and they want to offer us support because they have been through times of great difficulty. And we're about to approach the equinox coming up March 20th. And for me, this is the time when Persephone returns. And Persephone returns with message. She's been in the underworld. She's been with our beloved dead. She's been with our ancestors. And this is when she returns with messages for us from them. So I do think that this is a time. This image that I have drawn is some of this. This is the background here is an abandoned parking lot, and the abandoned parking lot is being, overtaken by lichen and wildflowers. Things are busting out of the asphalt. This, which has covered the earth, smothered down the growth. Because it's been abandoned, things are a little chaotic. The growth is coming forward. And I pulled this image of John. I traveled with this John card, the Knight of Cups card. These happen to be his words. That's a longer story of how I have little cards with some things he's written. And may the world start to wake up from its coma and read the signs that nature is telling everyone. I do feel like, under this, like the idea of the crab goes to nature. The green is like a color that kind of goes through this, is that, the earth is here. The earth does hold us. And this, of course, the Hermit is, if you think of it, it's connected to astrology, it's an earth sign. So I think those are all the things I wanted to tell you. Oh, no, wait, I do have one more thing. I am going to read this poem about a little practice in a way, or orienting ourselves to listening to the dead. This is from a poem I wrote, and it's going to be up on the wall at the East Hampton City Arts Gallery for the month of April. I have my closing poet laureate show happening there. And April 5th, Saturday, April 5th, there's going to be a gallery opening from 4 to 7, and there'll be readings on the half hour. Maybe I'll read this poem, but this is first anniversary prayer. I wrote this on the first anniversary after John died. Dear departed one, the evening, became dark, led you to nowhere. I knelt at all the thresholds, whispering all the words I knew into winter. Night after long night, down on my knees, I couldn't leave. But spring came and ice broke. I mixed your ash in with the seeds, answered soil's call to be fed. Prayers now in my palms, under my nails, turning the earth. I watch green take the field, raise the vine, feed the bud, and blood of strawberry opened my lips. I walked then in our old places. As green turned to flame, turned to brown, everything fell down. And this is the day you've been gone in all the seasons. I've used up all my prayers. A white goose rises, so close I could hear air lift each feather, the sound of earth embracing sky, turning me into the shift, where I no longer speak, but instead listen to hear, from the wind, from the field, from the snow, the prayer you make now for me. So this is going through all the seasons, using up all the prayers, all the action we think we need to make, going through this difficulty. It could be this time, this great time of chaotic change that we're going through. And when we've used up all those prayers, we can listen instead for the prayers the dead, our ancestors, our beloved ones are making for us. And as we listen with our open hearts, our Knight of Cups, open hearts, and knowing now that there's no division, no barrier between them and us, between us and the living, then we receive that prayer and it moves us forward, still creating that world of liberation, of freedom, of justice for all people. So that's my message. I'd love to hear what your personal cards are, because you remember, actually, I'm gonna pop back to this. You want to do a personal reading now about how to contribute to shaping and encouraging this liberation. This is connecting with the Knight of Cups energy. So what do you not do? You don't have to do it. What do you do in the short term moving forward? But it has been good to be with you. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing what your readings are.